Hello, beauties. Millie here. Please pray for me that the baby doesn't wake up in the middle of this recording. Last week, I had the dog bark a million times, and it was all sorts of fun. And hopefully this week I can just tell it to you straight the whole way through. So today I want to talk to you about the 6 pillars of worthiness. And worthiness is the main prerequisite for conscious manifestation. Worthiness is not a prerequisite for manifestation because you're always manifesting, regardless of whether what you're attracting to you is negative or positive. But if you want to have a choice, if you want to have a say in the matter, if you want to do it consciously, then worthiness is a prerequisite because belief is one of the absolute necessities for manifestation. If you don't believe that whatever it is that you want is possible for you because of a worthiness issue, then it's not going to happen. It's not going to come to you. You're going to be blocking it. You're going to be in a state of resistance because that lack of worthiness or that lack of belief keeps you in that state of scarcity and resistance, right? So that's why I want to talk to you about worthiness. And if you guys have been following me for any length of time on Instagram at Milli Fox, you know that I've been talking about worthiness long before I even started talking about manifestation, because the lack of worthiness amongst women is really a true pandemic and has been going on for generations. And this is one of the things that I seek to do away with, that I seek to abolish, that I seek to break and bust and destroy like the goddess Kali, because we are all inherently worthy of everything we desire. And not to confuse the words worthy and deserving, because there's a bit of a misunderstanding there sometimes, because entitlement is not the same thing as worthiness. And I don't want you to get those two things confused, okay? You are worthy of your desires. Maybe you are not entitled to them, but you are worthy of them. And it's a matter of receiving. Really, it's a matter of being open to receiving and releasing control around how those things show up, that I believe makes the difference between that air and that energy and that attitude of entitlement and that energy of worthiness. So that was kind of an offside tangent that isn't included in the 6 pillars that I'm going to cover just right now. But I want to tell you why I'm going to tell you about these pillars. First of all, because they are in the ingredients to worthiness, they are ingredients to living a wholehearted life, but also they are the pillars that I am covering in a brand new course that I am launching. I'm going to be looking for founding members. I'm going to be teaching it live for the very first round only. It's going to be called Worthy of It All, a 6-week program to teach you how to live an audaciously authentic, completely fulfilled, and fully self-expressed life as a worthy AF woman. And I've actually created a framework, a guidepost, an anchor is the word that I wanted to use, that is going to be the mainstay, the North Star of the program, that is an acronym for Worthy AF, which I'm so excited about. The program itself is called Worthy of It All, and these are going to be the 6 pillars that I teach in the 6 weeks of the course. So if you want to be one of the founding members for this course, I am going to have a wait list in the show notes. I have yet to start the launch. It's not coming until November, but you can definitely get on the wait list now. So go ahead, click that link in the show notes right now, get yourself on the wait list, and let's dive in. So the prerequisites for worthiness, or the pillars for worthiness, are build self-trust, employ self-compassion, release codependency and people-pleasing, renounce perfectionism, embrace authenticity, and choose faith and belief over fear and doubt. And I'm going to give you guys a quick overview of them just very quickly now so that you can have a deeper understanding of what I mean for each of these things. And of course, if you want to fully shift in your life from that place of fear and doubt and feeling like you are not a priority in your life, feeling like you have all these big dreams and you've woken up in this life that doesn't feel like it should be yours because you always believed there was something more magical for you waiting when you became a grown up, putting that in air quotes. If you feel like you really desire that and you know that self-sabotage is a problem for you and you know that it's fear that's holding you back from taking the steps required, whether that be fear of outcomes or fear of what other people say, fear of what your family members will say, your spouse, whatever it is. If that's you and you want to do the big things, but you can't get started, this is the course for you. These are the steps that are going to change your life and bring you into that place of feeling like a priority in your life, feeling proud, feeling worthy of your desires, feeling proud of who you are, feeling like you can actually go after what you want without that crippling self-doubt and fear, and feeling like yourself again and proud of that woman. That's the outcome of mastering these 6 pillars. So the first of them is self-trust. And the thing about the way that we are raised as women right now is that we are raised to put everybody else first. And what happens in that is that we end up losing trust in ourselves as a byproduct because we're constantly given these messages to question ourselves, you know? And self-trust is this beautiful thing that lets us know that we can believe in ourselves, that we can rely on ourselves, that we know who we are and we can depend on ourselves. And it is the number 1 core pillar for worthiness from my experience. Number 2 is self-compassion. Employ self-compassion. My goodness, we are lacking compassion in this world, and that all starts with self-compassion, and very few people talk about it. There's actually a ton of research on self-compassion and all the different ways that it impacts your life. It's actually a much more positive thing to focus on than increasing confidence, because focusing on increasing confidence can lead to arrogance sometimes, but compassion never does. And self-compassion is a tangible thing you can actually work on. There's 3 parts to self-compassion. There's kindness, there's common humanity, and there's mindfulness. And I teach all about this in every program that I teach because it is really pivotal stuff. The third is to release codependency. You're going to be like, what? I'm not codependent. I'm not overly dependent on my partner. In fact, I'm quite the opposite. I'm very independent. I carry this household on my back. Well, unfortunately, codependency is highly misunderstood. It's not actually about being overly dependent on another person. It's really about people pleasing. It's really about trying to control outcomes with other people's experiences, other people's emotions, and other people's reactions. And this is what women are masters at. We are the emotional laborers. And it is this people pleasing that has us constantly abandoning ourselves and having very loose and porous boundaries, which is another thing that leads to low self-worth because it puts us at the bottom of the priority list. So I teach you all about this, all about boundaries inside the course. Number 4 is to renounce perfectionism. So perfectionism is a little bit glorified in our society, but the truth of the matter is that it's a self-destructive and addictive cycle that we get into, and it's also a 20-pound shield that we carry in attempts to avoid painful emotions. We think that we can outrun them by being more perfect, by being better than, whatever we think is going to cause us pain. We think we can get out in front of it, which is a complete misconception. And again, makes us abandon ourselves, makes us move farther and farther away from who we really are, which decreases worthiness, which decreases feelings of belonging because we feel like no one really knows us. We feel like no one can really see the true us. And that is so deflating, you know? So releasing, renouncing perfectionism. I am the queen of good enough now. I am a recovering perfectionist for life. I was a gold star girl. I was a checklist girl. I was an honor roll, get all the external validation possible girl. And now I am the queen, self-proclaimed queen of good enough, and it has done so much for me and so much for my life. Feels so good to not have to have that pressure to be perfect. Number 5 is embrace authenticity. These are actually out of order from how they'll be taught in the course, but it's how I have them written down from my first brain dump. So that's what we're doing here. Embrace authenticity. This is about being who you really are and reframing how you view authenticity from a personality trait to a choice in how you show up. Showing up authentically, courageously, vulnerably is going to be the first step when you decide to release codependency, when you decide to set boundaries, when you decide to start speaking your truth and renouncing perfectionism. For a lot of us, we don't actually even know who we are. So we wonder, well, who is my authentic self? Well, it's a journey, it's a process, it's a lifelong discovery, and it's a beautiful one because the truth is who we are gets to change. We are dynamic as all hell. We are allowed to embody all different sorts of contradictory traits inside of us. It's okay. It's the way we're meant to be. We're humans. We're here to be in the contrast. We're here to not only experience the contrast, but also to express it. Because the opposite of expression is depression. And that's what we are getting rid of here. We're doing the things that will help us alleviate the mental illnesses that are plaguing us. And now maybe not this alone, like maybe there are definitely other steps that you need to take, but I myself used to suffer from crippling anxiety, panic attacks, depression, all of that stuff. And it's not to say that I don't experience small bouts of those things, because the world is a heavy place right now. We have to be honest about that. It's not all love and light. I am not a toxic positivity person. I'm not a spiritual bypasser. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. It's my third line in my human design. But honestly, authenticity is something you need to show up and choose every day. And it's something that I will teach you how to do inside of Worthy of It All. Number 6, choose faith and belief over fear and doubt. Okay, so this is really a choice to believe in something, right? So when we choose fear, we're believing in something that we can't see, right? When we choose faith, we're also believing in something that we can't see. The difference here is that fear is never productive, and that faith will lead you to where you want to go. I shouldn't say that. Fear is sometimes productive because sometimes fear can save your life, but that's what it's meant for, right? Chronic fear, debilitating fear, crippling fear is a backwards attempt to try to keep you safe because your reptile brain thinks that the unknown is unsafe, right? That the unknown is dangerous and scary. But our higher faculties know that we can do it, right? And we have to trust that and build that self-trust from the other pillar that I was mentioning before, so that it becomes easier to choose faith. And now, I don't believe in eradicating fear, but I do believe that we need to increase our capacity to sit with it, to walk with it, and to hold hands with it. And that we can do. We can build that resilience to fear, and we can learn to do what we want despite of it, in spite of it. So those are those 6 pillars that I really want you to start thinking about. And if you want in on this course, it's going to be one of my more affordable options. Get on the wait list now. It's going to be the only time I ever teach it live, over 6 weeks, starting mid-November. So get yourself geared up. I'll tell you these 6 pillars one more time. Build self-trust. employ self-compassion, release codependency, renounce perfectionism, embrace authenticity, and choose faith and belief over fear and doubt. I love you so much. The truth is that you are worthy of it all. And I want you to start recognizing that, not only recognizing it in your head, but feeling it in your heart and your body, and feeling that warm, fuzzy, held feeling that you can provide for yourself. And the truth is that you are the only person responsible for providing that for you, and you're the only person capable of doing that. So let's do it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And the absolute best thing you can do to support me and this podcast is take a screenshot of wherever you're listening, share it on social, and tag me. Thank you so much for listening.